I was like, what fight were you watching? I thought Usman won, but I also had it 4-1 Usman or 3-2 Usman. I think they thought that Paul was going to have a lot more of a chance. In reality, it was shut down. All right, here we go. You have Paul Hughes versus Usman Nurmagomedov. I guess first, George, did you watch this fight?
Yep.
Who'd you think won?
I mean, I thought it was close. When it went to decision, I kind of assumed it was going to Umar again, just because Usman, yeah, sorry.
They're brothers, though. I get it.
Yeah. But I kind of assumed, I just assume Middle Eastern judges are always going to be slightly skewed. Maybe that's ignorant of me as a fight fan, but once I see it going to the judges, whoever the hometown hero is, I just assume they won it.
Yeah, you know what's funny is if you look at the judges' scorecards, it was the American judges that had it the most far-fetched. Brian Miner, 50-45. Brian. I love Brian. Brian's a great guy. Great guy. I was like, what fight were you watching? 50-45 to Usman? Oof. I thought Usman won. No bias. I actually had this conversation with Big John today. I had this conversation on my live stream. I was actually polling my live stream, polling my live stream to see exactly what they thought. A lot of them had it the same way the other two judges had it. Almost all of them except for one had Hughes winning, which I wasn't mad at either. But in my opinion, I had Usman either winning 4-1 or 3-2. It was a close fight. I had him winning either 4-1 or 3-2. It really depends. For me, it depended on which round if you gave. I think round 4 is when Usman got dropped. He got hit and kind of went to a knee. That lost him the round. That was the biggest shot of the round. He also got wobbled again, I think a little bit later in that round or right after that, he got dropped. Not dropped, but right after he put his knee down and got sat to his knee. He got hit again a little bit, got wobbled again. So that round, to me, round 4 was a pretty clear-cut round. That was Paul Hughes' round. I also thought maybe Paul Hughes won round 2. I have no problem with giving him round 2. So I think if you look at it, I think the rest of the rounds should have went to Usman. She probably gave Usman rounds 1, 3, and 5. Or if round 2 didn't go to Paul Hughes, you could have given Usman round 2. But I'll look at these. I'll pull these up right here. I have the scorecards right here. Let me pull them up real quick. Because there was a couple sets of scorecards that were put out. Just so we're clear. One set of scorecards was 10. It was Brian Miner. He had it 10s all the way down for Usman. And then he had a 9-9-9-9. And then he got down to the 5th round. And he gave it a 10-8 for Usman. That's wild to me. Absolutely wild. So it was 50-45. But it was a 10-8. So that didn't make any sense. These are the scorecards that were originally put out. Okay. And then Usman, it was Hadi Ali. He had it 10-10-10-10-10 for Usman all the way down. And then he had 9-9-9-9. And then round 5 was a 10-10 for each fighter, which is really strange. That was from Hadi Ali. This was the first set of scorecards that I believe were put out. Usman versus, and then Usman, it was, who's this guy? Beryl Rassan? I think it's Beryl Rassan. The name's blurry. That's why I can't read it. He had Usman 10 in the first, 9 in the second, 10-10, and then 9 in the 5th. But he also had 9 for Paul Hughes in the first, then 10 in the second, and then 9-9, and then 10 in the 5th. So that was 48-47 for Usman. So that was the first set of cards that were put out. Now the cards that they finally went with at the end, it was still 50-45 for Brian Miner. It was all 10s for Usman, and then all 9s for Hughes. Hadi Ali had it at first 4 rounds went to Usman, and then the last round went to Paul Hughes. So that was 49-46. I could see that being what the cards were, except I would have given him round 4, not round 5. Now, if I go to the next one from Daryl Ransom was first round was to Usman, 10-9. Second round was to Hughes, 10-9. Third and fourth round went to Usman, 10-9. And then the fifth round went to Hughes, 10-9. So that becomes 48-47. I got to go back through because, unfortunately, if you guys have the ESPN app, they, for some reason, don't show the automatic replays of PFL shows. No clue. It takes like a day or a couple days to watch the replay. So I'm going to go back through when that becomes available and watch this. And then I will give you my honest breakdown. And I'm going to just tally up significant strikes, like strikes that did damage, and come back and break it down for you guys. That is a fight that, look, I thought Usman won, but I also had it 4-1 Usman or 3-2 Usman. But I'm not mad at either way. But in no way did I think Paul Hughes won the fight. So, but Big John and I had a conversation, and he felt like Paul Hughes won the fight. And I had 2 other friends call me. They're just into fighting. They're not judges. They don't work for the commission. They don't work for the UFC. They don't work for PFL. They thought Paul Hughes won the fight. So I had 3 people that I knew thought that Paul Hughes won the fight. But everyone else thought that Usman won, but they all thought he won 4-1 or 3-2. So a majority of them agreed. And then also to my chats today on my live stream for the UFC, I asked about the Paul Hughes and Usman fight, and a lot of them thought that Usman won the fight 3-2. So, like I said, I'm going to go back through it, watch the fight. I'm going to judge it myself, write down a scorecard, and go from there. But I thought overall the fight was contested pretty well. I thought the first fight to me was a little bit more dramatic because not many people gave Paul Hughes a chance. And in this fight, I think they thought that Paul was going to have a lot more of a chance. In reality, it was shut down. But Paul also did not fight with a higher level of fight IQ. Like if the rounds are this close, and if you go back in like in the fourth or the fifth, one of those rounds, you could tell that the more pressure you put on Usman and the more herky jerky Usman got against the cage, the more success he had. If you go back and watch the 5th round of the first fight, a lot of his success came from getting Usman trapped between the fence and that black line. And when he had him in there, there was a lot of energy spent on Usman trying to get off the fence or trying to get away from the fence or a lot of sporadic movements that runs at your gas cardio. That runs at your cardio tank. Like he started getting tired. The punches started getting labored, started leaning towards the punch, not bringing them back to your face. All of those things happen when you're being pressured and you don't know how to react because you're too tired. Paul didn't start doing that in this fight until it was too late, just like in the first fight. But even when he did do it, Usman was in better shape this time around than he was in the first fight. So Paul should have got started early. And then Paul also virtually no kicks, which was really strange to me because when you have a fighter who moves a lot and they rely on their movement to stay away from your power, then you need to get busy with the leg kicks early. And he never did. He had like 1 or 2 in one round, then he had like 1 or 2 in the next, but nothing that was like, okay, let me keep going to the well on the calf kicks, which surprised me because when you have a guy that has a very fast entry in for the double leg or the single leg and was turning the corner very well to get to the takedowns on you, why would you not try to kick his calf? That takes away a lot of his ability to explode in lowering the level and getting penetration for the takedown. It just threw me off. I didn't understand it. The coaches, the corners, never even talked about it. Not that I could hear. You got to get busy as coaches. You got to be trying to make sure that he understands that.